Hey everybody, it's Gothic Mayhem, and today I have a very special video. This is going to be my first year doing Mer-May. So, for people who don't know what Mer-May is, it's kind of an art challenge that people do on YouTube, I guess. And basically, you're supposed to draw a mermaid every single day for the month of May. I can't promise you guys that I'll have a video every single day for you guys, but I'm gonna try to at least have close to every day. I'm still gonna be posting regularly afterwards, but I doubt I'll be posting every single day like I'm gonna try to do during this month. So I started out by sketching, and I decided not to put that part of the process in the video, but I did put the line work in. So what I'm using for the line work is microns. Throughout the entirety, I use microns 005, 03, and 08. So I realized while doing this that it's really hard for me to outline once my paper is down. I always end up moving the pages around, and I shift and twirl my page in order to get really nice lines. I don't usually keep my page still. So that was a bit of a challenge for me personally. I could try to get better at that though. So I am drawing on watercolor paper right now because this will be a mixed media between watercolor and pen. I wanted the pen to be less prominent in the drawing, so I started with outlining everything. The watercolor will go on top of this ink and almost sink it into the paper and just make it look a little less prominent. Of course, you'll still be able to see the ink. It won't go away or vanish into the watercolor or anything like that. I just think it softens it a bit versus putting the watercolor on first. So watching this back now, I realized that I had my phone filming on the right side, which I do draw with my right hand, so you don't actually see a lot of what I'm doing, which is unfortunate. I should either find a way to film above, or I should really remember to film on my left side. Also, a lot of the times you'll see me reach for the computer. I did watch some YouTube videos and listen to some music during this process. It was a long process. I think with time-lapse videos, people don't realize how long artists actually spend doing really simple things like sketching and line work. But yeah, if I do reach up and touch the edge of my computer there, it's because I'm changing the video. Anyways, mermaids are something that surprisingly I really enjoy drawing, but I don't get around to drawing them very often. So for me this was a really nice kind of idea in a way. Mer-May is gonna be really fun for me. If you guys are participating in Mer-May, I'd love to see some of your artwork. Either tag me in my social media or send me a comment down below with your YouTube channel if you posted it to YouTube. I would actually really love to see your guys' versions of Mer-May. Alright, here comes the last of the line work, and then we are going to jump right into the watercolors. So the watercolors that I use are called Royal Langnickel Essentials, and I'm pretty sure I actually just got these from Walmart. They're really crappy watercolors, but they aren't actually terrible. I wouldn't suggest using them directly out of the tube. They're very vibrant, for one, and for the other thing, they're very generic colors. I do use the red directly out of the tube, which is going to be the first thing that I start with when I jump into the watercolors. Here we're just erasing all that pencil work, making it look nice and clean. Like I was saying though, a lot of the colors are really generic, pretty bland colors. But I just kind of start with this red. I do a thing when I do watercolors where I just dab with a paper towel when the color comes on too strong. Mostly just because I'm not the greatest at watercolors. They're one of my favorite mediums, if not my favorite medium. But I'm still not the greatest at them. If you're looking for advice from a professional, I would go somewhere else. I'm very much still learning, especially when it comes to things like skin color and portraits. Really, I've only used watercolors as like backgrounds and galaxies and stuff like that for a good period of time, and I just started recently dabbling into the idea that watercolors can be full paintings. I definitely don't think that I did a terrible job whatsoever with this one. I'm actually very proud of how this turned out. I'm very excited about the end results, but I do think there would be some things that I would do different. For example, towards the end, I get a little careless and kind of want the process to be over, and my background bleeds into my character a little bit. It's not the end of the world, but it does kind of bug me a bit. In terms of other things like the color choices and the overall design of the character, I really loved the colors I created, and I love how they look together. I feel like coloring in this piece really made the whole piece come together a lot more than if I had just left it in its initial form. So if you noticed, the first thing I did was called dry brushing. It's when you just put on the color onto the dry page. And now I'm doing the hair, and for the hair I'm using a wet on wet technique. The brush is wet, the paint is wet, and I initially got the canvas or the paper wet. This really dilutes the color, and I think it makes it look really light and beautiful, versus with the red I really wanted it to pop and stand out. Now, I'm not the most patient person in the world, so watercolors for me can be a bit tricky with that. I have to start with really small areas and move on to different areas constantly. If you can see, I started with the reds of the skin tone and the reds of the tail and the fins and such, and then I moved on to the hair. I specifically do that just so that I wait for other things to dry. One thing I do like about these watercolors is that they actually dry rather quickly. Of course, the stronger you put them on, the longer it'll take for them to dry, but these actually dry decently quick. Of course, they don't dry quick enough where I can't blend colors together or keep them wet, but they do dry pretty quick for watercolors. The same process I do with the hair, I do with the tail, initially wetting down the page with just plain water, and then moving on to the color. I laid this down a little bit too thick, a little dark, so I go in with that paper towel and just absorb a bit of it, adding a little bit more where there needs to be. So here is where I had probably the most trouble in the entire drawing. Skin tone. So the skin tone I made was very orangey and very dark. But I noticed that if I pulled it up, it would leave a really nice light residue. And I wanted her skin tone to be almost like a peachy kind of color. I really wanted it to kind of blend with the large areas of red, and I had never made a skin tone out of watercolors before. So this was really all trial and error, really experimenting with this, and I was very afraid at first that it would ruin the piece. That all my hard work would be just destroyed by the fact that I could not make this skin tone correct. Luckily, those fears were just fears, and that did not happen. So I start jumping around again, just doing some small little things here and there, trying to make that skin tone dry to see what it looks like. Doing little details, getting that red a little darker, getting the blue a little darker in her hair. Really just trying to pass the time while I wait for the skin tone to dry. Once it's dry, I go through and figure out what else I need. That red really helped make the skin tone look a lot nicer. And with these final details finished, I move on to the background. So I try to do a wash in the background with a turquoisey blue kind of color to make it seem like water is behind her. This is when I get a little bit uncareful. If you can see, I've already kind of blended it into the tail a little bit, and up in the hair there gets a little bit of blue as well. But overall, I don't think it ruins the drawing or the painting, and I actually really enjoy how it really made the mermaid stand out. And with that, guys, I hope you all have a great Mer-May. Let me know if you have done this challenge before, if you're going to do it, and send me all of your pictures and videos. I'd love to see it. If you guys liked this video, please subscribe and hit that like button. If you'd like to know when I post videos, go ahead and click the bell for notifications.